Step into the paranormal with Ernie Atwell and David Seiler, brought to you by Paranormal Inc., right here on WLFE DB Radio.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Step Into the Paranormal episode, and we got it right, I got it right this time, 31. He was right. Shut up. How you been?
Good. How about you, man?
I'm doing well.
Yesterday was National Ghost Hunting Day.
Yeah.
I was following everyone's videos and pictures and all that good stuff. Looks like everybody had a good time out there last night.
Most definitely.
Make sure you get us some evidence. We would love to have you on a future episode of Step Into the Paranormal.
Yeah, definitely. Get it to me.
Show your evidence off, man. Tell us all about the good time you had and what you learned and what you saw and what you heard. And
what scared the hell out of you. All that good stuff. So,
but we got a special show tonight.
Definitely. We have a beautiful young lady who is a psychic medium, and she was featured on a really popular show called The Holzer Files.
I was about to say one of my favorite. We already spoke about that.
Yay.
Well, without further ado, we'd like to welcome April. She is the psychic housewife of New Jersey, one of my favorite places to visit.
Me too.
Hey, Manny says, nice shirt.
Oh, nice shirt.
That is a great shirt.
You have to. It's a. You have to catch the inside joke, but there's only four. There's only four in existence.
It has to do with old guys or something like that.
Old guys and a bald head and paranormal and beards and all that stuff. April, how did your night go last night? I saw all the pictures of you and Ron and Anthony and Lourdes and.
Oh, it was great. Oh my God, we got so much evidence, so many EVPs, and again, that box, Ron's magic box, was spitting out my name all night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. How late were you guys there?
7 a.m.
Ooh. Wow.
I almost made it the whole night. I think I went to sleep about close to 6 o'clock.
Wow.
And I woke up 10 to 7. But, of course, Ron and the rest of the guys, Anthony Simonelli, they went to 7 o'clock.
Right. Hey, you got to take advantage of it. I mean, that's like.
Oh, for sure.
Yesterday was like, Christmas Day, so
exactly.
To speak. Paranormal.
It's our Christmas.
Yeah. But well, let's get to the good stuff.
Ooh,
Let me brief everybody real quick what we're going to talk about. As you all know, when Dave and I left our team and formed Paranormal Inc. back in 2017, it was a solo project that we started. We hosted and did a lot of events at the Haunted Haldeman Mansion.
Up in Bainbridge, PA.
Right.
Yep.
Well, one of the things we noticed, and I'll let Dave start the first story off with the young lady who was dressed as a cop.
I'm so sorry.
There was a certain part of the mansion.
We interrupt this program for in Bolton. No.
There was a certain part of the mansion that whenever certain people went to this one area, they were highly affected.
Yeah, highly.
And I'll let Dave tell you the first story. I'll tell you the next, and then I'll give you a brief description of what we did to try to figure out what was going on. So,
well, one of the things we've had several mediums in. They call it the summer kitchen. It's outside the main mansion. It was actually the original mansion, and Carmen says she loves the mansion. So it was the original house on the property, and then later on they built the mansion and moved into the mansion. It became basically where they cooked everything because the heat and everything like that. So apparently an incident happened that we've had now 3 psychic mediums tell us about.
Well, go
before that.
But start to why we got them to go there.
Okay, well,
we were hosting a Halloween
party.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to go there because the age of the young lady. Well, that one. I'm not going to go there. There's a young lady there. There was a young lady who was very affected. Everybody thought she was like 21 and was trying to help her, and then we found out she was like 16.
Yeah.
So, and she got accosted by something there. We're not sure what, but she ended up having
right.
She got affected mentally by it and ended up breaking down and crying. And she actually went and spent the night there with her friend.
To me, I mean, Dave called me over because I had my group in the main part of the house. And to me, it looked like she was having some sort of like emotional breakdown.
Right. I mean, she just went fully nuclear, crying, like, and she's like, I don't know why. I don't know. Something just got in her head. I mean, she just lost it. And she was the first person that we knew about in the summer kitchen. And we didn't know the story at that point of what happened.
And then shortly after that, April, what we did, Dave and I, we did one of our seminars at the mansion. And it was followed by a real live investigation. So
he takes half the group and he goes to summer kitchen. I have half the group. I'm staying in the mansion.
Dave's in the mansion and I'm in the summer kitchen with my group. And Mike King from Ghost of Shepherdstown was with us and he was with me. Now we were upstairs at the summer kitchen and Mike's wife brought a good friend of hers and her friend's daughter who, to me, this girl looked like she was about 14, but she was, I believe, 26. I mean, this was a very young-looking lady that, I mean, we couldn't get over how old this girl was just by her appearance. So anyway, we're upstairs investigating, and I noticed this young lady starts going toward, when you go up the steps to your left, she went to the second window. And I noticed that she just started staring out the window, just like April. She looked like she was in a complete trance. So I'm nudging Mike King and pointing, and we're watching this girl. Well, all of a sudden, I start to notice her body start trembling, and she actually just started like lashing out and screaming and crying. So I had no clue what was going on. So I said aloud that because you can't see up there. It was so dark. I said aloud, hey, I'm coming towards you. Now, I walked up to her. I put one hand on her elbow like this and one on her shoulder. As soon as I touched her shoulder, her legs completely gave out, like almost like she had passed out. Well,
wait. He grabs the radio because we use walkie-talkies.
Yeah.
He went into cop mode. He's like, Dave, 1013, I need you right now. So at this point, I'm over in the mansion and we're having a lot of things going off over there, weird things happening that we're not used to. But I put out my group, I said, stay here. And I went running. I wasn't sure what was going on.
Well, as soon as I put my hand on her shoulder and her legs went out, I knew that she wasn't trying to pull a fast one on us or be funny, because when she fell, the side of her head actually bounced off the floor.
Oh.
And I went over to her and I bent down and I helped her sit, and she immediately was like, I'm fine. And I said, well, what's wrong? And she's like, nothing, I'm fine. Well, I knew something happened. So I said to her, I said, what did you see or what did you hear? You have to tell me. And she said, there are two men standing outside the window in the field. And I asked her, I said, are they on the ground or are they window level? And she said they were on the ground, and she described what they were wearing. So Dave and Mike King went out.
Now Mike comes running out, and I'm like, what's going on? He goes, he says, there's men behind the building. He breaks left, I break right. And we're literally trying to charge up on this. We get around back and we're looking out into the field behind it. Now, I know at this point that there's a lot of bodies that are buried back there. It's an Indian burial ground. So it's fenced off.
Oh, I picked that up.
And you could see these two black masses just going like this in the field. I looked at Mike. Mike looked at me and goes,
oh my God, you're kidding me.
No, wait. He goes, do you see anything? I'm like, nope, I don't see anything. Do you see anything? He's like, nope. We both went our separate ways, came back right on back in. Yep, they were just doing this in the field.
Wait, Ernie, were you with me when I was seeing them in the field? Were you there?
I was there. but that's why I didn't say nothing to you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
Because
God.
so that everyone knows, April was at Haldeman Mansion
2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
2-3 weeks ago.
Which I still haven't unpacked from.
What's that?
I still haven't unpacked from there.
Well, April was up there, and I went up briefly, specifically to go in the summer kitchen with April. So I spent all of about 20 or 30 minutes with April in the summer kitchen. I didn't give away anything, but I basically just wanted to watch April. I just wanted to watch your reactions and what you were picking up on, because we haven't even began to tell you what we want to tell you yet. But what Dave and I did as the year went on, or 2 years went on, and we led more public investigations there, we would ask if anyone that has never been there has any sort of sensitivity, toward the paranormal. So on 2 different occasions, I took, and I have it all recorded, I took 2 different females up to the summer kitchen and asked them, just walk around. If you feel an uncomfortable spot, tell me where it is and tell me what you feel. Now, on both occasions, both of the guests went to that window. Both of them went like this and like held their chest, maybe held their midsection and was like, I'm having trouble breathing. Something feels tight. I just don't feel right. And it was by that window.
And you remember what I told you recently? You never responded to me. Remember? Oh my God.
You started. Tell everybody, because I didn't respond to you.
Tell everybody what you felt there, because he's already told me, and that's why I wanted to make sure that.
Well, I was getting sick, but remember at my hotel room, because I got there early, I took a nap. And when I woke up, there was a girl in my room, which I had been picking up on before coming to the Haldeman Mansion. And she was letting, know that she was one of the servant girls there. And, I knew she was being raped.
All right, don't go. Hold it right there.
But can I tell you what she said to me in my hotel room?
All right.
She was bending over. And
this was before you got there.
This is before I got there. Bending over, telling me that she's pregnant. But when I was looking at her, she had blood on her dress.
Now, what we did, I had 3 different, the 3 most well-known psychic mediums that we know, that they don't interact, they don't travel together. I don't even know if they know each other. We made sure when we had events that they were there with us one at a time. Now, I won't give up their names, but this is the conclusion that we came to, April. There was a servant girl, okay, that was, how can I put the term politely? She was assaulted by multiple men.
Yeah.
She was assaulted by multiple men at one time in the top floor. And what they did, we can't figure this part out.
I think I know.
She was either hung out the window, pushed out the window, or she jumped out the window.
One of the above.
But the what all 3 came up with was multiple men at one time assaulted this young lady, and somehow or another she wound up out that window
and dead on the ground behind the summer kitchen.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you now. When I was on the property, and I was talking to Melissa and Jerry, I had turned and looked at the summer kitchen, and in the back of it, up against the wall, I saw a man raping her. And, her and I locked eyes, and she said, April, there's nothing I can do. Like, she couldn't do anything. And I'm going to tell you, I think they were trying to get rid of, she was pregnant. They were trying to get rid of the baby. So it was either her or they killed her. So
that, do you feel that was why she went out the window?
They did it. She
Can
did.
you? I'm not trying to grill you or anything, but is there any way you can describe what she looked like?
Because we've had 2 out of 3 descriptions so far.
Okay, you know what's funny? I was getting actually 2 girls. Sometimes my spirits, when they come around, they kind of mend together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
One girl was a young black girl. There was also a white girl too that was being assaulted.
We got 2 out of the 3 mediums that gave us this information. Described her as a young black female.
Yeah.
Now, this is the kicker of it. The group that we were hosting, and I said the girl collapsed and hit her head on the floor and all, that looked very, very young.
Yeah.
She was a black female.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
So can I know this is horrible, but I'm going to tell you, she had a white apron on, the
Yep.
white apron.
Yep.
That's
exactly
what they said. I
But
forgot.
that's where I saw the blood. So I think they were trying to force,
Uh-huh.
you know,
I know where you're going.
and that's why she was eventually pushed out. I'm going to cry because.
Yeah. I mean, that's.
Well, I could tell, Dave, because like I said, when I was there with April, I didn't really say nothing to April because I knew April was going to be on our show.
Right.
And I don't want you to feel like I was checking up on your spot, but I'm so intrigued by what these mediums told us. And over a period of 3 months, Dave, Mike King, and myself was able to put
2 and 2 together.
Yes, and come up with possibly something would happen. But my main focus being there with you was I wanted to see, because I right away, I know you're the real deal. But I wanted to see for myself, like I wanted to see when we have you on tonight. I wanted to see your body language and your expressions.
Yep.
And Dave, no sooner we hit the top floor of that summer kitchen, April was grabbing her stomach and started going on. And inside, I was like, this is what I wanted to hear. But I was trying not to give my excitement away because I didn't want to influence what she saw for me. You know what I mean? But I'm speechless.
That's 4 now. We have 4 different.
Oh my gosh.
Now,
and she's not the only girl. She wasn't the only one.
She said something else. We were talking. We were doing like a EVP session when we were up there, and April said that a young boy is trying to contact her, and you gave. I hope you remember. You gave the first 2 initials of his name.
J.A.
J.A. Hold that thought.
My favorite person there.
I'm going to play an EVP, and it's going to be clear as day.
It's going to blow your mind.
Now, I was in that little boy's bedroom.
Mm-hmm. We'll
now you're gonna hear me reference Dave, but it wasn't this Dave. It was Dave Schindler that passed away.
Yep.
A few years ago. I think it was around 2016 or 2015. Laura, when she headed up the paranormal program, she called me to come up at midnight and host an investigation during their adult Halloween party. Okay, so basically, April,
there are no children.
There's no children there.
Put it up against the mic so people.
Now, what we did, we were in the bedroom, and everyone sat around in a circle, and I was in the center of the room, and I had my recorder, and I said, "What I'm going to do, I'm going to point to you. When I point to you, you ask a question, and then we'll play it back." Now, during this EVP session, not only did I, but a lot of people in the group heard footsteps in the adjacent bedroom.
Hear that all the time.
Now, we continued the recording, but you'll hear us go off track, and I'll say something like, "Hey, Dave, did you hear that?" And a few people's going to talk, and you're going to hear one of the young men in the group say, "I think he wants to come closer." Now, when he says, "I think he wants to come closer,"
You're going to hear a
you're
name.
going to hear. You're going to hear.
Tell us what name you hear.
You're going to hear EVP.
The little girl. We'll talk about her in a moment.
Give me 1 second to pull it up here.
1 time's up. You're in overtime.
It's going to be in about 30 seconds.
Can you hear that?
No, did you hear that? I heard something before. Did you hear that? That step in the other room? Yeah.
Right here.
Hey, I made him present, so.
Shane has a buddy.
That's right. Let's experiment. It sounded like a foot, like a I think he wants to come closer, but he's afraid. It sounds like
What did you just hear?
What name did you hear, April?
Jacob.
Mm-hmm. That's Jacob's room at the top of the steps.
All right, listen again.
Hey, I made him present, so.
Shane has a buddy.
That's right. Let's experiment. It sounded like a foot, like a I think he wants to come closer, but he's afraid. It
Oh my
sounds like.
God.
Now,
That's
here's the
Class A EVP.
Here's the funny thing, April. As you can tell, well, like I said, there's no children there. And that's clearly a little girl. But the funny thing, for those of you that aren't as experienced in paranormal, we didn't stop talking about what we were talking about. You know, this was the end of the recording. It had about a couple seconds left. And I'm like, man, all night and we didn't get nothing. And then all of a sudden, out of the clear blue, you hear this little girl say Jacob. And we didn't hear it. We didn't hear it with our own ears. It wasn't until I played it back 2 days later, you know, but that
What typically happens.
But that is exactly what you said. You said a little boy was trying to contact you. You were trying to make out his name, but it was the first two initials were J.A.
Now,
Oh my God, mind blowing. Mind freaking blowing.
Jacob is very playful, and if you call him by name, he will interact with you. So we're there for another investigation, and before the investigation, this guy in my group comes up to me and says, look, I know this is BS. I know that your equipment's rigged. I'm only here for my wife. This is BS. I know it is. So don't try to impress me. I said, okay. I said, there's a paranormal investigation. I'm not going to investigator. I'm not going to show you a ghost. I'm here to show you that something you can't explain. So I'll promise you by the end of the night, I'm going to show you something you can't explain.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah, whatever. So we go up to Jacob's room. And if you remember, the room on the second floor, top of the stairwell, straight ahead.
Yes.
There's two windows. One is a leaning window and one is a flat window. He goes over to the flat window. I put my REM pods, my flashlights, my yes-no box, everything up in here, my Mel meter. And I'm like, hey, Jacob, Mr. Dave, long time no see. How you been, buddy? I've missed you. It's been a long winter. I know it's our first time back in a while. I was trying to be like very energetic. He loves energy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, Jacob, by the way, this guy doesn't believe you're here. Can you turn on one of my lights for me? This guy had a Coleman lantern that he had turned off on the top and set in the window. All of a sudden, his light turns on. He goes,
not the ones Dave set up for the experiment.
Right. His light.
The one he shut off.
Yeah.
And the man's, I heard his jaw hit the ground. He picks up his light. He walks out through the room, walks down the steps, out the door, and you hear slam.
I love it.
So, I do my 15, 20 minutes with this guy. Jacob is doing great. He's turning things on and off for me. God love him. I love that boy. So at the end, I'm going to look for this guy because I didn't want him freaked out too bad, right?
Yeah.
So I walk over. He's having a cigarette by his truck outside, and I say, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, I'm okay. I said, I'm going to ask you, did I fulfill my promise to you? He's like, absolutely. I said, would you like to come back in and join us? He's like, nah, I'm all right. They've paid for this event. I'm like, well, come on, you paid for it. Why not? He goes, because that place is haunted. I lost it. I was no more good the rest of the night.
Well, I had more go on, but I think, Ernie, you left already.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I was out of there. I think I left. You started investigating what, like after 8 o'clock or something?
Yeah, I think so. We were running a little late.
Yeah, I was already on the road at like 9:15, 9:30.
Well, I told you, like I do remote viewing. I don't do it on purpose either. Before going on to an investigation, as soon as I'm told, where we're going, and I'm like, Zoom, my brain is there. I'm at the spot, and I'm already picking up stuff. So from the get-go, I was picking up a woman there, and specifically on those stairs. And I could see that
in the main or in the summer kitchen.
The main.
Okay.
And she likes to push people.
I know.
Yeah, yes.
I know.
Absolutely.
Here's what we got from that, April.
Laura
told us when you go up that first set of steps.
Yes.
And right when you get to the top, where the room is on your right, apparently one of the servant ladies caught her dress on fire with the, holding the candle, walking up the steps.
Oh,
burned to death on that.
Oh, I did smell fire there.
Yeah, I remember you told me that, but I didn't say nothing. Remember, I was like, I'm not saying nothing.
Yep.
My throat was bothering me, like if I was inhaling smoke.
Yep.
Oh, this is freaking crazy.
Now, here's the fun part. Now, downstairs in the main ballroom that has that window looking at the grand stairway, we were set up for an event. Now, I was there early. Ernie wasn't there yet. Laura's dog was there in with me. And I'm setting up my projector, setting up my computer, getting everything. This dog starts barking and barking and barking and barking. And I'm like, Ray, shut up. Just barking and barking and barking. And finally, I look up at the dog, and the dog's barking out at the window. And then I look out at the window, and you see this black shadow go right up. And as soon as it went around the corner, he stopped and looked at me like, his look was like, hey, dumbass, I was trying to tell you something.
You picked up on the lady on that stairwell.
Yeah, she was the first. So, I'm warning everyone. I'm going, all right, guys, listen, I want you to be careful going up the stairs. She might try and push you. So we go upstairs to do an EVP session. I forgot whose room it is. It's right by the children's room. Well, anyway, I get past the stairs and I go into that room, and all of a sudden she starts pushing me. But when a spirit touches me, it makes me physically sick. So she's making me nauseous because they're getting into my energy field. So I'm sweating. I'm like, oh my God, I don't feel good. I'm like, and then they got me a chair. So they're like, all right, sit down. I can't move my legs. This woman was holding my legs.
Now, I know that last week, I believe you and your daughter tuned into our episode, but we had my friend Ali on there for our Remembering show for Dave Schindler. Now, when the first time we took Ali to the Haldeman Mansion, we took him there, him and his girlfriend, specifically for the purpose of training them on equipment. So, of course, when we broke down at the end of the night, you always leave that one piece of equipment you forget about. So we had everything turned off, everything packed up. Schindler goes, damn it, we left the IR camera up in the attic. I said, all right, I'll go. I said, come on, Ali, go with me. Right before, about maybe 3 steps before we get to the top landing where you sense the woman, something hit Ali's leg and pushed him into the wall.
Ooh.
Well, he screamed. And I didn't say this last week because he was on here, but he's not on here tonight, so I'm going to embarrass him.
You're like a girl.
But he screamed, and he says, what the hell was that? He goes, something pushed me into the wall. Well, when I got to the top and I turned around and looked at the other set of steps going to the attic, I seen a horizontal black mass go around the steps into the attic. And I said to him, I said, come on, let's go. And I start to run up the steps. I start to run up the steps, and Ali goes, you're going up there? And I said, yeah, that's what the hell we're here for. Let's go. But of course, we didn't have everything was packed away. So it was just a personal experience.
Yes.
But it was the same, like 3 or 4 steps before the top. Something hit the side of his thigh and put him into literally, like he actually hit the wall. Like, you know what I mean?
Well,
that's what she did to me. She went for my legs. Like she wanted me to fall. She grabbed onto my legs. Wow. And I could feel, like weight around my legs. And I'm like, I can't move my legs. I'm like, you guys have to grab me.
Right.
Oh,
So it's
Lord.
crazy. So we went back on the stairs to do an EVP session, and they're asking. Now I'm sitting on the stairs, and they're like, "What is she saying?" And she's pushing me in my back, and she's going, "Get out, get out, get out, get out." That's all she kept saying to me. Melissa had later told me that that's what they got on an EVP, like I guess prior to that. But the woman saying, "Get out, get out," and I said she was pushing me. She wanted me out of there.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many children do you think are there? If I mean, I know that's a very random question, but
Right off the bat, I feel 3, and I feel like a 4th died.
All right. I know of Jacob. I know of Anna, and there is a little African American slave boy that we've actually both of us have run into.
Okay.
And he has his hair pulled back really tight, and he wears a white ruffle shirt, and he loves peeking around corners.
Okay. Great. That's definitely. But there's another there, and I feel like this child, this is going to be another male that passed, but it's a young child, really young. So I'm gonna say like 3.
oh.
2,
Wow.
3. Yeah.
Now, I tell you what's really creepy, and I'm sure our friend James Houston's watching. Not this past July, April, but July before, a lady who comes to our events and stuff, and eventually she became a very good friend of ours. She contacted me and said that it was her daughter's birthday. It was a few days before I came to Jersey. And she said, you know, my daughter, she's like, I'm not telling my daughter, but is there any way I can get you to come to the Haldeman? I rented the Haldeman for her birthday for a investigation party.
Oh wow.
I was
That's
like, yeah,
pretty cool. What a great mom.
so yeah, it was fun. So I unexpectedly show up, and I gave her a voice recorder, and we had it was the whole birthday thing. So we start investigating. Toward the end of the night, we were in the children's room upstairs, and we were doing an EchoVox session. And I tell you, I have never been so sad on an investigation, and especially at Haldeman. The girl's mother, Elaine, very soft-spoken, sweet lady. We believe she's making contact with the children.
Mm-hmm.
And we had like 3 or 4 different child voices coming through. And there was one like dominating male voice that you could tell was trying to silence them.
Mm-hmm.
But for whatever reason, April, the kids kept communicating. Well, Elaine was being very generous to him and just talking very soothing. And during
like a mother.
Yes, and during this session, one of the little girl's voices come across and said, "I love you."
Oh.
I tell you, there wasn't a dry eye in that group. Like, I looked at Elaine and I looked at James, and I was like, the session has ended.
Yep.
I said, I said, because everybody says that they feel sometimes that the kids are troubled.
Yeah.
And whatever Elaine was saying or doing, she made those kids feel at home or feel peaceful or whatever. And I was like, we have to end it on this note.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we said our goodbyes and we packed up. I was leaving, but they were originally going to spend the night, but because that session went like that and they wanted to leave on a peaceful, good note, they actually went home. They didn't even stay, but it was crazy, man. It was absolutely crazy. And I mean, it was sad. It was so,
they were subject to this man's anger and what he did, and he didn't hide what he did.
Right.
And it was like, and there was nothing you can do, because that's what the girl told me. There's nothing nobody could do because we had to obey him.
Tell her about the man on the stairs in the summer kitchen.
All right, so there is someone on the stairs. You can throw down REM pod, Mel meter, K2. Within literally 2 minutes of putting it on the stairs in the summer kitchen, it will go off.
Mm-hmm.
and it's reproducible. I've done it probably a good 10 times. My nephew Teddy came up there with me. I'm like, here, take this, go put it on the steps, watch what happens. And I stood back, and literally within 2 minutes, it went off. He's like, Uncle Dave, why is that doing that? I'm like, something doesn't like it there. Well, we've had several mediums tell us that someone does not like things on the steps. It clutters. He's a motion detector in the windowsill off the stairs, and it still goes off.
Well, I always, whenever we're hosting something there, I always put the motion detector at the bottom of the steps in the windowsill, or the light sensor rather. And when I took my group into the summer kitchen, we were down below, and I was just basically talking to them. We wasn't involved in any set. I was just giving them a little bit of history, or so to speak. We actually, April, we heard a man walk from the far end where you saw the vision of the man. Mm-hmm. He walked across the floor, and everybody kind of like and looked up, and he walked across the floor, and then all of a sudden the motion light lit up in the whole stairwell.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I felt he was avoiding me while I was there.
Haldeman is wicked wild.
Yes, that was crazy. And then even in the back of it, in the backyard, the shadows.
Yep,
that was crazy.
I know what he's.
A couple of people had asked me to walk there with them. So Ernie, I walked with you, correct?
Yeah.
All right, because I knew I was picking up bones there, like bodies. And I was seeing the shadow figures all night. That was crazy.
Yeah, the bones you're picking up, there is an Indian burial ground that they ran into by accident, and it's now been deemed as off limits. You can't touch it. So now, the first time I was ever there, Ernie had taken me up. Once I realized he was part of prom, he's like, dude, I'll take you up here, check this place out. So I brought a whole bunch of friends. So first thing is, we're sitting around this round table right near the grand stairway, and something suddenly goes like this on the back of my head. Thinking maybe it's a bug or something. And Miss Laura is doing her readings and telling him the history, and she has a couple pendulums and doing her thing. And I'm like, yeah. So I'm listening back to her, and I'm really not full-fledged paranormal investigator yet. I'm just I'm doing it on a ghost hunt. Then all of a sudden I feel this again, and I'm like. And Laura says, is something touching you? And I'm like, absolutely. And then she says, it most likely is Miss Haldeman. She doesn't understand why your hair is so short. So I'm like, all right, fair enough. Well, then all of a sudden, I'm listening to her again, and I have shorts on because it's hot. Something wet just runs up my leg like this. I'm like, ah! I'm up. I'm on a flashlight. Her dog's in there sniffing my leg. So... With that said, now we're really ramped up for it and amped up. So we're doing the investigation with Ernie.
Good energy, like actually to bring the spirits in too.
It really did. So we're having a great night with all my guys that I brought up, having a blast with this. So we're taking a break, probably about 11 o'clock-ish or so.
Is this when we were outside?
Yeah. So he's inside doing his thing, and me and my guys are outside. We're having a smoke. And all of a sudden, over here, now the summer kitchen is directly in front of us. The mansion's behind us. The water's to our right, and the stables is to our left. Over here, where the outhouse used to be, we hear this child giggling. I mean, when a kid gets like really happy and they kind of giddy squeal that they're so excited. And I'm like, what was that? And you hear it again. And I'm like, Ernie. I'm like, what? I'm like, what's that? And you heard it again.
April, I actually walked over. Dave was a little bit behind me to where like the giggling was coming from, and it actually started moving.
You could hear it running.
It's like it was running, and it was doing it as it was
giggling. And so he's following
like a child would.
It went behind the summer kitchen. And then I saw him come out the other side, and you could still hear it giggling.
And I believe it went back, right?
It went all the way around the carriage house, and he walked it. He walked with it.
Like I was actually following.
And it came up the driveway again and literally crossed back in front of us, back to where it started.
And then it stopped.
And it's not. And he walked the whole thing, and I'm like, you heard it run by right in front of us, and we're all doing this. Nothing there.
Oh, that's crazy.
But it was that giddy squeal like a kid, like
Kind of like the sounds Dave makes when his REM pod starts going off.
He gets very excited.
oh, it's going off.
I can't. There's a lot of activity there.
Oh,
I definitely want to go back.
Oh, definitely. We got to set something back up over there. But I still remember we were over there the tree outside, and I actually on my phone I played on Indian dance, and people were taking pictures, and they were getting orbs. Well, as I'm sitting here playing and just talking about what happened here, and this is called the witness tree, and we suspect there's a lot of hangings, blah 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 blah. The music changed, and I felt like somebody's like stinging me, like something's pinching me. And I looked down and it said Indian war dance. And I'm like, oh, stop. And I'm like, I'm apologizing. I'm like, I was just playing music. I'm sorry. It stopped. But I was like, oh my God. I'm like, oh, I hope I didn't offend anybody.
Hey, Ernie, what happened with that? I know we walked in the back. I just completely blanked out about that. What did I say about in the backyard when we were walking? Do you remember?
Yes. Because actually it was kind of weird. The way you sounded, I didn't know if you were speaking directly to me or if you were in some sort of trance, but
this is why I can't remember. I can't remember. You
looked very blank in your face. And you said to me, you just turned around like unprovoked and you go, there's Indians here. And I was like, yeah, I know. Like, I didn't know how to
I know. I do that. So that's why a lot of times I can't remember things and people have to tell me because I go into my zone.
We were walking we were in between where my car was and the tree. We were going between it. And you just basically, as we were walking, you just stopped for a moment. So I stopped and you turned around and just looked at me and you're like, there's Indians here. And I didn't know if you were involved in reading something or if you were telling me something. But I was like, yeah, I know.
Well, I have a very good connection with the American Indians. It's because I'm a shaman, so I can feel them right away, and they always gather around me almost as protection wherever I go. They did this when I went to the Hinsdale house, and they just gather around me to protect me because I'm one of theirs.
Right. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
What's your overall take on Haldeman?
It's not evil. I know a few people saying evil spirits. It's not evil. There's no evil spirits there. There's just a lot of emotion left there.
Yeah. Yep.
You know,
residual. Yes.
A lot of residual, but it's still active with.
Absolutely.
Because with this girl, I mean, she spoke to me from the moment that I remotely went there, and I mean, coming to visit me in my hotel room. And that was the saddest part when she was, when she was there with me, because she was telling me she didn't want me to think poorly of her. She's like, there was nothing I can do. I couldn't yell out. I had to take it. And that's why I think she was showing me her in back of the summer house, what he did to her. And our eyes met. I'm going to cry because our eyes met. And she's like, there's nothing I can do. It was so sad.
I knew when Dave and I would tell you what conclusion we came up with through our other medium friends. I knew it was going to blow your mind because I could tell just that short amount of 20 minutes or whatever that I was up there with you. I could tell. I mean, I feel I'm a pretty good judge of character, and in person you're kind of like a bubbly, happy, but you took this transition when we were up there that I knew right away that something was going on, and I kind of knew what it was because I know what happened there. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But I was so eager to hear what you had to say about up there.
Yeah, that was quite emotional.
I know that there's like a man there that's a dominant man, because there was one time we actually were doing a seminar. We were up there and we were doing a preliminary sweep, and we went on the second floor back to all the way back to the back, right above the kitchen in the main mansion. And we're just running things. Well, as we're walking out, coming through what used to be the schoolroom, there's a set of stairs that goes downstairs right into the main area, and we hear. And as I turned, whatever this was, there was a mass right here in my face. Now,
the male.
Mm-hmm.
What I almost left footprints on this man's back trying to get by him, and I could not talk. Whatever it was just scared me. I've been shot. I've been stabbed.
And he likes that. He's a horrible man. He loves that. He loves to intimidate.
He scared the yell out of me, but nothing came out.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to point and go, Ernie, there's something there.
Ernie again.
And it sounded like a Scooby-Doo cartoon. Ernie thinks I'm having some kind of medical emergency at this point. And I finally got out something there. So he turns with a FLIR camera, and you could see it just kind of doing this.
I could see it starting to take shape in the.
Yeah, it's manifesting itself. It's drawing its energy.
The thing we like to do is when we're setting up for like our seminar and then of course the investigation, Dave and I will do the preliminary sweep before the guests get there, and it was still daylight. And we were in the back room directly above, or second to the back room, directly above the kitchen. And Dave said it sounded like a knock. To me, it sounded like someone shut the kitchen door down below. Mm-hmm. But either way, Dave was April. He was so startled. Whatever, and I can vouch for you because I had the same experience in Gettysburg where something swooped up on me and I kind of like froze, but his whole entire body completely locked up.
I literally launched by him and just went,
and he froze. It was like somebody nailed his feet to the floor. And as much as I love Dave, I now know CPR where you don't have to do mouth to mouth. I wasn't giving him mouth to mouth because I thought he was stroking out on me. I mean, he it was like he was frozen in time. But when I turned with the FLIR camera, you could just see it forming.
Yeah, just
in
like
threshold.
coming up like.
Were you able to record that? Like,
I got the still shot of it on the FLIR. I'll have to show it to you.
Of it, yeah, that was just amazing.
Oh my God, that's crazy. Well, you know, I'm going to see you on the 24th, correct?
Are you?
Oh, you're coming?
You're coming to our event?
Yeah.
All right, guys, special announcement.
We have a special guest coming to one of our events.
Our friend April will be joining us as a guest psychic medium at the Reliant Bar and Grill in York, Pennsylvania. I
already made a connection to the place. Remember, I messaged you?
Yes. And actually, April, Dave and I have, what's exciting about it, we haven't been there yet. We don't know nothing about this place other than it used to be a fire station and now it's a bar and grill or something.
I've been told
my favorite.
Like several people
know anything.
Yep.
Nobody else has been there. Nobody else has been there. This is, virgin territory where no other paranormal groups have been.
Yep.
But listen, so Ernie, so I had picked up because because once you tell me something, I remotely go there. I'm there. So I'm going to tell you, can I say already what I picked up from there?
Sure. It's just, yes. That way, when we actually go there and something happens, that you'll have that, hey, we have it on recording. Check it out.
So I saw this angry man. Is there a bar there?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Oh, okay. All right. Because I didn't know if it used to be a bar because I'm seeing this very tall, probably in his 60s, older man knocking glasses off the bar. Just like
when hey, what's up, Paul Dixon? How you doing, buddy? When you asked me that, I didn't know because, like I said, I told you I know nothing about it. So I messaged Laura, who runs York Ghost Tours. And she goes, hey, I happen to be there right now. And she said, I asked her if there's any claims of all I said was, I think, claims of things being broke. and she asked, I guess it was employees that were there, maybe, but they said that they come in and find coffee pots and wine glasses broke.
Because he does this. He comes in and he's like,
And see,
like
that's
that.
exactly what you said. That's what you told me, or said or whatever, about 5 minutes before, I messaged Laura.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's if you guys do want to come to John, yes, there are tickets left. YorkGhostTours.com. I hope I spelled that right.
It is Saturday, October 24th from 7 till midnight.
Yep.
We're going to be, I'm sure because of this whole craziness going on, the group's going to be smaller, which I prefer.
Yep.
And now it's confirmed that April's going to be investigating with us. So
yeah, you're doing when October 24th, and I'm going to be with Gettysburg Exchange with Pam and Steve Barry
the night before.
Before.
Yeah, I'm going to try to make it up there. I'm going to try to stop by the night before.
You know who I was speaking to yesterday. I haven't met him in person. Flip Seals. You know,
he's a blast.
Yeah,
he's a blast.
He's supposed to stop up at the Gettysburg Exchange to come meet me. I've never gotten to meet before.
Flip's a friend of ours. I was actually I was at a cookout about a week or two before the bash was canceled. I was at a cookout. I was at a cookout at the Lookout House with Flip with Pam and Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got there before.
But I haven't met anyone in person yet. So I talked to everybody, but I haven't met them in person. So I'm so excited.
Right. Oh, it's a good crowd. You're gonna Pam and Steve, man. I can't even put into words what Pam and Steve mean to us. And also another local group up that way, Dave Haney from Keystone State Paranormal.
He's watching too.
Yeah, what's up, Dave? And he's another holder of the
old bald dude. I'm not in the club. They took me away.
You gotta have a bald head. That's not considered bald because you can.
This is the feather because I can't give him a bird on camera.
So what else you got going on, April?
Oh my gosh. So yes, I'll be with Pam and Steve. I'll be up in Gettysburg the 23rd, the 24th with you, because now I have to go. Because now you reeled me into this with this guy.
I didn't know you were going because you were supposed to give me confirmation, and
she just did.
I did give you confirmation.
I heard it.
No, I mean prior to.
But I did.
You did?
I'm going to go back and look at the messages. Don't mess with me.
I got your back, girl. I got your back.
Did you show them the picture you sent me of Karen Hill with the gun?
Can I mention that?
Go ahead.
For those of you, everybody knows I'm a big mobster fan and gangster movie fan, and of course, one of the best, in my opinion, mobster movies ever is Goodfellas.
Oh, for sure.
April sounds just like Lorraine Bracco that played Karen Hill. When you listen to her talk, she sounds just like Karen. So when you hear me call her Karen, I'm not calling her a Karen. I'm calling her.
I know. Yeah, that's. I said, make sure you're not calling me a Karen. But I am Sicilian, so
I know this.
But they don't know. Oh. Now you know.
I love it.
So listen, from now on, whenever you watch April's videos, or if you happen to be at our event on October 24th, pay attention when Karen talks. Pay attention when April talks. Like Karen Hill.
Oh, and also wait, everyone can see me. I'm forgetting this. Every Tuesday night at 8:00 on Paranormal Warehouse.
Right.
Don't miss it. Live readings all night.
I didn't even tell you this yet. I ain't had a chance because everything going on. October 11th, an hour after our show ends, I'm going to be on Paranormal Warehouse on Para-Unity Roundtable.
Oh, that's right. You told me that. That's awesome. That's a great show.
Yes.
That's a great show.
It hasn't been advertised yet, but I'll tell you about it.
Yeah, you're going to be great on there. And what else? I'm going to be at the haunted Shanley Hotel on Halloween.
I'll be at work.
I'll be handing out candy and scaring the kids.
It's sold out already. It's a sold out event. It sold out a while ago. But I'm so excited because Shanley's like one of my favorite places. That's like my home away from home.
Right.
I'm going to be doing gallery readings there, and then we're going to do an investigation afterwards.
Right. Can people get in touch with you for private readings?
Absolutely. They can just go to intuitiveapril.com.
There you go. Say that again.
Intuitive April. Are you making fun of my accent?
No, I love the accent. I grew up around 120 Central Park, Southeast Manhattan.
Okay.
I'm a New Yorker.
No, I'm Jersey. It's different.
It's crazy.
He wanted to hear that Karen Hill similarity. This is what I want you to say. You got to yell, Henry. Where were you at, Henry?
So evil. Oh my God.
I'm so sorry.
I like the one with the gun over him.
When I typed Karen Hill in the what are they called? The little videos?
Browser?
No.
YouTube?
Anyway, when I typed it in the little bar, to get the video,
Yeah.
that was the only clip that came up in Messenger of Lorraine Bracco was Karen Hill was holding the gun like this on Henry. So I was like, I got to send it.
That's great. That was great.
We are running out of time. So before our network gets mad at us. So
guys, this was such an awesome night. I'm telling you, I can't believe.
Honest opinion was the stories we told you, comparing your evidence and ours.
It's exact. It all blends in perfectly and fills in some gaps for me.
Right. Right.
Because I wasn't sure. I'm like, what happened? I'm like, not until I'm talking to you tonight did I realize I couldn't understand if they were trying to kill the baby or kill her to kill, get rid of everything. Right. And now I do know because they did try to with the baby, but nothing was working. So they got rid of her completely. Right. So I figured that out tonight. Now we piece together this mystery of Haldeman and this poor servant girl.
I knew it was gonna. I wanted to see your expression when Dave and I started telling you.
Sparkling on her. You have something sparkling behind you on your camera.
Well, yeah, Jersey.
Your right shoulder.
Yeah, I see it.
Sparkle here.
That's pretty cool. Like, how's she doing that?
I don't know. I see it. I see it every week when I do my live readings, and I'm like, "What the hell is that?"
And she looked at it and it stopped. Did you see that? Do that again.
Turn around.
And it stops for a sec. Look.
Yeah,
and our lights flicker.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Lights do flicker around me.
That's really cool. Did you see almost like her aura over here? Sorry, we're looking at you on the screen. Y'all got a camera. Do you guys see that? Anybody? The people who are watching.
You have to watch. You have to put the floor camera on me, and you can watch. I can make my energy rise up into a cone.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. My little parlor trick I do.
We'll
do it that night.
I had somebody show me actually how to read an aura where you have them stand
on
the white wall,
and
then they move away.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
That is kind of neat for us people that have no special gifts or talents.
We all have special gifts and talents.
Yeah, I'm a network nerd. I'm talented.
I don't know what the hell my talent is.
Kimberly said the first thing she noticed. All right. Kimberly, first thing I noticed. That's great. Pretty cool.
So, all right, sweetie. Well, the time
Thank you so much for having me on. I love you guys.
Thank you. You have been awesome, and we look forward to October 24th seeing you.
Can't wait.
I may see you on the 23rd.
I'm going to see you on the 23rd. I have a good feeling about this.
April. Thank you for spending your Sunday with us.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys.
See you, sweetie.
Bye.
She is amazing.
Next episode, the young lady Kimberly had just made the comment.
Yep.
Kimberly will be joining us on our next, right there, Kimberly.
Yeah. Hi, Kimberly.
She will be our guest on our next episode. She is from West Virginia, and she has founded and started an all-female paranormal team.
Nice.
So if you need another member, I know a big whiny woman that might want to join your team. But in 2 weeks, yeah, Kimberly will be with us, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Anyhow.
Well, guys, we will see you in 2 weeks.
Hope everyone had a good National Ghost Hunting Day last night. And if you come across anything good, be sure to get it to Dave and I so we can get you right where they at.
Right here.
Yep, right there.
The camera's back here.
In an upcoming episode.
Love you guys.
Good night, guys.
Peace out.
You've been listening to Step into the Paranormal with Ernie Atwell and David Seiler. Thank you for listening, and listen in next week for another topic and more great guests, right here on WLFE DB Radio Network.